So one of my favorite memories of Mr. Pollard is his laughter. I have had that laughter echoing in my head most of my teaching career because he has been there for us the whole time. And we also know him through the theater as well, and I've been so privileged to act on stage with him, as well as to have heard him in the audience as well, which is the fun part. And there were several times there were lines that I've had or something that I've done on stage has made him burst out laughing into that glorious belly laugh that we all remember so well. And just knowing that he has always been there and he's always been a support is something that I want to continue to pass on to my students and to everybody else that is around. So, thank you.
Mr. Pollard was a really good teacher. He's part of the reason why I really do want to be an art teacher at some point in my out-of-school career. And he was really nice guy to talk to. It was nice to talk to him about stuff relating to like orchestra and band and choir and anything of those sorts. He also, even though I never got to see him there, he was a part of summer music school, which is something I do a lot of now. And I got to talk to him about that, which is really nice. One day when I was in his room, I was mentioning crocheting, and I mentioned how I couldn't figure it out, and he offered to teach me. And so one day when I went down to his room, he taught me how to do it.
I met Mr. Pollard in the early 2000s when the school district started an Art Smart program. We got a grant from the government, and we learned how to incorporate art into our classrooms. And surprisingly enough, I didn't like him. I didn't like him a lot. I didn't like him. And so it was just because I didn't understand. And we got playing music together because we incorporated music and we were both musicians. And I quickly figured out that I had assessed the situation totally incorrectly. And from that point on, we became really good friends. And he moved into the neighborhood where I live, and so I got to help with his animals, meet his family, play music with him outside of school, and just learn about who he was. And he always made me feel like I was enough. And his hugs, and he always came over and told me something positive about myself, and some days when I wasn't feeling positive, he was the one that got me through. And I'm going to miss that a lot, but I'm hoping that maybe I can be that person for others and for kids in the school, because he wanted to share art and music and love, and that everyone was enough just who they were.
Something Mr. Pollard taught me that I still hold true in my everyday life is that it's okay, not that everything's not going to be perfect all the time, because I've always been a very detail-oriented person, and he allowed me to take that pressure off of myself, and that was very comforting. That was a very comforting thing that he taught me. And I just always appreciated that he was very willing to help students with school, with emotions. He was very open with them, and he was able to notice when somebody was struggling, again, with just school or with friends or something. And that made him a really admirable person, and he helped me and a lot of other students I know.
Mr. Pollard's smile was unforgettable, and every trip he made up and down the hall from his room to the office, he always shared that smile with everybody. And I really appreciate how true he was to himself, from the way he dressed to the hugs that he gave. He was just so true to himself and confident, and radiated that truth and confidence to all the people around him.
So Mr. Pollard was my classroom neighbor at school. I spent a lot of time with Mr. Pollard when he was here. If I was ever having a bad day, I could always go down to his room. He had a very different way of looking at things, so I'd be like, hey, listen to my bad day. And then he would find a way to kind of spin it and make me be like, oh, okay, it's not such a bad day. And then I'd go back to my room. And on those really crappy days, he always gave the best hugs. It was just like, he's a big dude, right? So when he gave you a hug, it was like, it was legit. And he always had a really good sense of humor and was always super nice about everything. I don't know how you didn't like the guy.